This is going to be a longer article, but a monster has been slayed in Florida. And thank you, Florida, for, you know, letting those mills of justice grind slowly but relentlessly. And bon voyage to hell, douchebag. Renee Flattery did her best to provide for her three children, even though there wasn't always much on the shelves. The rural mail carrier and single Eastern Washington mom worked hard to put food on the table and loved her children dearly, says her brother Wesley Elmore. Her children were her priority, and she made sure that her children were fed and took care of, Elmore said. Now, when Flattery met Jeffrey Hutchinson, on paper, he was a war hero, having served in the Gulf War as a U.S. Army Ranger. But he would end up unaliving Flattery and the children, 9-year-old Jeffrey, 7-year-old Amanda, and 4-year-old Logan. Have fun in hell, sir. I hope that you get the little Nicky, uh, Austrian painter from a certain second kerfuffle treatment. If you've seen the movie, you know. Now, more than 2 decades later, Hutchison is set to be executed by lethal injection for the murders in Florida on Thursday. Now, this is a little old. He did end up meeting his creator and then Satan, so there you go. As he lives his final hours, USA Today is looking back at who Flattery and her children were to help honor their lives. And absolutely, their story should go on. He should be forgotten. The last time Elmore saw his sister just before Thanksgiving 1997, he felt like the family was in good hands with Hutchinson as they prepared to move to Florida. I was giving Renee and the kids a hug and everything. Goodbyes, Elmore told US Today. I remember shaking Jeff's hand and said, "Take care of my sister and her kids." And he said, "I promise I will." Months later, the 32-year-old Flattery and her children would be found dead in their home. Hutchinson splattered with blood and lying in a daze on the garage floor, according to court documents. Now, Hutchinson, 62, was convicted of fatally shooting the family of four. Elmore described his sister as a tomboy whose upbringing with three brothers made her incredibly tough. And as a boy mom, I can tell you I'm much tougher now than I was when I was a girl mom. Although the girls did shenanigans too, I've just found the boys' shenanigans end up with more blood, bruises, and broken bones. So I think I am now tactically enabled to deal with trauma and first aid. We used to go skiing when we were kids. It was me and her, and she would crash and we would laugh, Elmore said. She was my little sister, but it's kind of like just hanging out with another buddy. Elmore went through a divorce around when Flattery separated from her husband. Now, Elmore credited her with helping him navigate that turbulent time. It was hard, but she was my rock, Elmore said. Growing up, she was always the person I could talk to and confide in. Elmore recalled a time when, in almost stereotypical fashion, Elmore's son and Flattery's 9-year-old son attempted to remove the heads from the Barbie dolls of Flattery's 7-year-old daughter, Amanda. They thought it was funny, and Renee was just furious with both the boys. They were kids, just mischievous. And look, they're beautiful children. Just gross. Again, sir, I hope Satan is doing his worst or best with you. I don't care. He's Satan, so I don't know which one to wish for. As for Flattery's 4-year-old son, Logan, he had a knack for taking advantage of the 5-acre home that the family had in eastern Washington. There were times when Logan would be running around just, in underwear and a pair of rubber boots. Renee was like, I dressed him earlier this morning, so he did have clothes on. Ma'am posthumously can relate. Youngest, most feral son, I would dress him and he would be naked. In like the next minute, I got this close to thinking about duct taping his clothes on. Look, I'm not proud. I'm just saying you at one point want to look like you're not, sucking out loud at motherhood all the time. You want to be like, no, I did dress him. He's feral, though. I tried. I tried. Elmore noted that the children never got to become adults, and he mourns the milestones that they didn't reach. Logan was only 4. He didn't get a chance to even start school, Elmore said. Jeffrey and Amanda, they didn't get a chance to even finish grade school. They were robbed. They were robbed of lots of things. Now, what exactly happened to Renee and her children? On the night of September 11th, 1998, Hutchinson fought with Flattery, after which he packed some of his clothes and force multipliers and put them into his truck, then went to a bar. Uh, Nothing happens great when you start drinking with high emotions. Now, the bartender testified that Hutchinson told him that Flattery was angry with him, while others testified that he drove recklessly as he left, according to court documents. Now, Hutchinson then returned to the house, busted down, it's in quotation marks, the front door, and shot Flattery, Amanda, and Logan in the master bedroom. A forensic pathologist testified, according to court documents, that Hutchinson shot Jeffrey last in both the chest and then the head, while the child was able to see the bodies of his mother, sister, and brother. No. Like, go all the way to Hades and get a cactus, one of those large saguaro cactuses, sideways and insert. Ugh. This is corroditated dumpster water trash human behavior, which is why we will never get the secrets to eternal life, because no, the aliens don't wanna come here, because no, we have these kinda assholes. Excuse my rant. The terror suffered in that moment is incomprehensible to this court, Hutchinson's trial judge said, according to the Associated Press. Hutchinson called the police and told the dispatcher, quote, "I just shot my family," end quote. Since then, Hutchinson has maintained that the murders were committed by 2 home invaders and that the family was killed in a struggle. I'll look at the court documents, but I don't know. But then again, this Karen Reed case has made me question everything, including what are pancakes, what are waffles, and what, if any, is snow. Now, Hutchinson was an Army veteran that was diagnosed as suffering from Gulf War syndrome, but the trial judge removed or ruled him competent to stand trial. Maria De Libertario, executive director of Floridians for Alternatives for the Death Penalty and a liaison for Hutchinson's legal team, told USA Today that there are significant questions about Hutchinson's competency to be executed. There should be a pause to have a full and fair and complete hearing to determine the significance of his longstanding mental illness and brain damage and show how it impacted him back then at the time of this trial, at his sentencing, and how it impacts his facility or abilities to be able to proceed with his execution. Elmore and his brother Darren will witness the execution, should it be carried out. He said he believed Hutchinson is getting off easy given the brutal nature of the murders. And yes, yes, I believe you should just give them to the family. Or, or look, I'm just spitballing here, and this is why I will never be president. I'm just spitballing. Okay, we've got a lot of sociopaths that we're not using to their full potential in prison. So if we would like to say an eye for an eye, we could, for a nominal fee of some honey buns and maybe some commissary money, they could enact the same endings on, the defendants once adjudicated completely and ironcladly guilty. I'm okay with it. Now, again, this is why I should never be too close to the levers of power and should continue to just babble on the internet, because I don't know about you. I'm not saying I'm a good Christian, but I'm a fan of table flipping and rope carrying Jesus. I'm just saying sometimes Jesus loved the sinners and sometimes he flipped tables. And I'm kind of thinking this is a flipping table time. But that's just me. As again, as all disclaimers, as the world's worst Christian, do not listen to me. If anything, listen to Steve Gosney, who is actually a really good Christian and a great, great guy. Because I'm gonna be your cynical and terrible best friend that's like, "I do it." So, if Steve Gosney and I am both on your shoulders, listen to Steve, do not listen to Mo. Mo will get you in trouble and you will need bail money, but she will think it's freaking hilarious. So, again, don't listen to me. This is long awaited, and now as time is closing in on him, I'm actually glad that things are happening now. It's justice. His sentiment echoes a statement from Melvina Elmore, Renee and Wesley's mother, following the sentencing in 2001. Justice has prevailed. He knew what he was doing, Melva said at the time, according to Tampa Bay Times. Elmore said he doesn't believe he will find closure with the execution. Closure is such a stupid word because it makes it seem like it's over. And as someone who's walked through grief, not to the extent, obviously, I'm not in any way trying to put a patch on what I've gone through versus what this family has gone through. It doesn't go away. Your life gets bigger, but it's always going to be a part of you. So closure to me always just seems like a misnomer because it's going to be with you. You're going to remember those memories. You're going to be there. It's going to be a smell that reminds you, a song that reminds you. So you never really close that box all the way. It just some days it gets easier to carry, and then some days it's the weight of the world on your shoulders. So closure is such a bullshit word in my opinion, but there you go. People who don't walk in my shoes, they don't understand that closure, you never get it, Elmore said. But at least I know a part of this chapter of my life is over with now because justice is finally served. Now, let me go ahead and look up real quick because I do believe that he was executed. Uh, I I know I saw an article, but as you guys know, my brain has been broken by math involved in the well, in the Karen Reed case. I'm just about done. Alrighty here. Do. And we're gonna pull up a different article because ooh, nighttime mode. So Jeff Hutchinson was executed for his family's murders. Now, they are claiming in this particular article, I do want to give you a little bit of a different side. This one is going to heavily focus on his Gulf War sort of service and how this could have possibly been a trigger. So I did want to give you he is a monster, but as a, member of a military service family, I do wanna highlight that there are a lot of our vets who are struggling. Do I believe that excuses this? Absolutely not. Do I think that they should be putting their names behind this? I wouldn't, but I can't tell no one what to do. So, he was unalived, at 8 p.m. Thursday at the Florida State Prison in Railford using the state's 3-drug protocol, including all of the, things that make you stop your heart. Now, this did lead to controversy. At least 129 veterans did sign a petition for Governor DeSantis to try to get him out of this execution, stating that, you know, regardless of what Hutchinson said about there being home invaders, that this was obviously due to, the issues that, happened from him having Gulf War syndrome. So, I'm just gonna read a little bit of this. While Hutchinson himself maintained that the murders were committed by home invaders, his defense team pointed to brain damage and trauma suffered by the former U.S. Army Ranger during his service in the Gulf War as a reason to stop the execution. Now, some of the veterans said, executing a man who is physically and psychologically shattered by war, a man who never got treatment or understanding that he needed and deserved, is not justice, the group said following the execution. Now, 129 veterans representing every branch of the military wrote to Ron DeSantis, calling Hutchinson one of us. Now, I'm not trying to be judgy or nothing, but this dude shows up and I am Regina George and leader of the Plastics. He doesn't go here, okay? He doesn't get to wear pink on Wednesdays. No, he does not, go here. And I understand the need to get our veterans the care and the respect and services that they need, but I don't co-signing with this man. That being said, everyone is entitled to their opinions, and I do understand while there might be a correlation with some of this, the cardinal rule in the Church of Mo has always been, and will always be that whatever your BS is, whatever trauma, whatever horribleness, whatever shell shock, whatever anything you have gone through, in no way entitles you to take this mountain of crap and dump it on someone else. So again, this goes in the face of the Mo cardinal rule of life, which is no matter what you've been through, no matter what you're crawling through right now, does not give you the, ability, the divine right to be a divine dickhead. So agree to disagree, other vets who signed this. But there you go. A monster has been slayed in Florida, and I find that I'm okay with it. If you have any comments, if you wanna disagree, if you wanna appreciate it, if you wanna give me more reasons why people are like they are, please put it in the comments, do all of the YouTubey stuff, and as always, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, but have a sassy mouth and carry a can of bitch fire because, well, there are people out there still that just haven't been caught. There are monsters that haven't been slayed, and Lord Chippy, he is diligent, he is working hard, but monsters with human faces still exist. Bye, you guys.